Are we recording? Okay, people, if I stand just like this, you can't tell if I've gone bald yet. I got a little hair on top still, but when I go like that, you don't know. You don't know, do you? Here's your instructional video for naming ionic compounds, right? I got a couple behind me, one right here and one right here. We're going to go over in just a second. Here's what you need to be successful for this video. We created a naming booklet. We're still making these, right? But if you don't know what this is, get a sheet of paper and make one, okay? And if you do have one, get it out. This helps very much today. The worksheet that the examples will come from is this one right here, naming binary compounds. So get that out in front of you. And just in case, you might want to have your periodic table out as well for the names of the elements. Spelling does count here. We're giving these bonds names. And so, not the bonds, the compounds. And so we want to make sure that our spelling is correct on all of this, right? So here's the deal. We don't call this anymore BaCl2. It's got a name. And we can probably tell that Ba, or barium, is a metal, right there, and that chlorine is a nonmetal. How would you tell? Well, your periodic table, if you've marked it up correctly, is going to have the metalloids marked over here. It's going to be this kind of diagonal stair-stepping line over here. Everything to the left of it over here is a nonmetal. Everything else on the periodic table is a metal, right? So when we locate barium, which is right, where you at? Boom! Right there on the periodic table, we know that that's a metal, okay? So we have metals bonded to nonmetals, and that's what it should say in your naming booklet up here where we say, all right, this is for ionic compounds. These are metals bonded to nonmetals. And there's only two rules that you need to know about first, okay? There'll be another video for when this gets a little bit trickier. Here's rule number one. You just identify which one is the metal, and you write the name of the metal without changing it at all, okay? So for over here, this is barium. The first part of the name is just barium. Don't change it, don't alter it. It's just barium. Okay, that's it. We like rule number one because it's relatively simple. Rule number two is we take the name of the nonmetal. This one over here is chlorine, okay? But we change the end of it to an IDE ending. We talked about the other day your chemistry ear kind of kicking in. How do we take chlorine and turn it to something with an IDE ending? Some people will say chlorinide or chloride, chloride. We want it to click and sound right for you. It's chloride. You're taking chlorine, taking off the existing ending and putting an IDE ending. So chlorine changes to chloride. Just like that. Barium chloride is the name of that compound now. And that's it. So we wouldn't say this is BaCl2. We'd call it barium chloride. And those are the two rules. Relatively straightforward. So let's try another and make sure that we're solid on it. This example over here has K2 and S. All right? A look at your periodic table will show you that only one of those is a metal, and that's the K. And on your periodic table, you'll find that when you search for it, boom, K is actually potassium. So rule number one says just write the name of the metal. Don't change it at all. So it's potassium. Because you can use your periodic tables and your tests and your quizzes, spelling does count. So slow down and spell it correctly. Now, the nonmetal is sulfur. So now we use our chemistry ears and figure out sulfur with an IDE ending. Is it sulfuride? Is it sulfide? Sulfide. That sounds good. That sounds right. Some of you have already developed this chemistry ear. Some of us need a little more practice. That's totally okay. Ask, though. Ask. All right? And so sulfur becomes sulfide. And that's the name. Okay? That's it. Those two rules. Now, on your worksheet, we put a box around some of these. If you take a look at like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, these have a little twist. They're a little different. There's another rule that applies to those. We're going to learn it another day and review it in another video. So this only applies to those that have atoms or metals that don't have a variable charge. Okay? And we'll explain in another video what that means. So hope that helped. Have a wonderful day.